Not much, man. It's we're less than 24 hours from the start of week 1 in the NFL season. We're less than 48 hours from me penetrating Las Vegas like I like to do week 1. I have a industry draft on Saturday afternoon, and then it's going to be Sunday at the bars watching NFL week 1 all day with my boys. 3 nights away. No wife. No kids. Let's go.
Straight thugging. Not much has changed, I see, other than your appearance. We are also joined by the GOAT, the true OG Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds, because 7 apparently wasn't good enough. Paulie, what's happening?
What's going on, man? NFL's back. Greatest time of the year. Glad to be back on with you two motherfuckers. Life is good.
Life is good, man. Well, I'll tell you what, one thing. Obviously, COVID affected everybody differently. Some people, not much. Some people in a positive way, and very many people in a fucking terrible, shitty, horrible way. But definitely appreciate these things, man. There was a period where we were grinding these shows so much, and the 3 of us were doing so many shows in the beginning when we started Wise Take and everything like that, and you kind of took it for granted, right? You're just like, oh, man, another fucking show. I'm tired of this shit. But then, when shit like that happens and shit gets real and sports is shut down, you know what I mean? And then like life happens and people have kids and shit, and then you don't have time to do that shit no more, man. So I'm gonna try to appreciate this go around 2021 year of appreciation for CK013, and I appreciate you fellas. God damn it, Paulie. I'm in the middle of like this fucking touching thing, and Paulie just gets up and walks off. Some people never change. Now you guys got me doing the show with you Italian motherfuckers. You got me doing the hands.
Hey.
I mean, at least he's not asleep. I mean, remember,
that's one of the best moments of my life when Paulie fell asleep. That was one of the best moments of my life, man.
That and having a baby, like
okay, it's definitely the baby. You're right. You're right there, though. You're right there. It's the baby first, but you're right there, Paulie. Anyway, week 1 is here, man. Paulie, real quick shout out to you. The MLB Nation knows, but the NFL Nation may not know that Paulie did the ultimate dirty. In MLB DFS, took down the donkey. You know what I'm saying? That's right. The donkey. You know what I'm saying? And I think you only had, I think you turned you turned a couple $100 into 35 grand, I think it was. 38 grand? I don't want to short you, Paulie.
I think it was 35. I think it was like 4 and change into 35 G's.
Well, when I talk about this next week, it'll be 41 grand. And then the week after that, it'll be 50. You know what I'm saying? The legend, the story will grow. But nonetheless, shout out to you, Paulie. Years of grinding this shit out, man. And listen, obviously, we all have wins. It's not. I don't get been here before shit, but that's a lot of fucking money, man. That's a lot of money. We've been chasing that shit for a long time. And how did Paulie do it? By sucking on the dick of the chalk. Or I guess like the opposite of that. In my head, it sounded like the right thing to say, but as I said it, I was like, I don't think this is right. Fading the chalk, the censored version. But shout out to you, Paulie. You did dirties. Joe, where's the rest of you?
I'm right here.
Where's the rest of you, Joe?
I'm right here. I'm still working out 4 or 5 days a week, eating right, looking good, trimming fat. That's what I'm doing.
Bada bang. I love the shirt, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. I can't wait for the Many Saints of Newark that comes out October 1st. It's the prequel to Sopranos. You heard about that?
I didn't, actually. I've been living under a rock, bro.
Yeah.
But
it's going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
I'll have to check that shit out. Show. Shout out to those of you in the YouTube chat hanging out with us live. I see Pat Bush, who's been him and Leonard, man. They've been just dogs, man. And the MLB grinding every single day. Slack chat not really bumping, but they're in there putting in work. MG, that's a name I haven't seen in a little bit. MG, what's happening, man? Good to see you. Hopefully we start to get a lot of the old crew back, mingle with the new crew, and build ourselves a nice little Wise Take Nation like we've done for the last 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been. All right, so I've eaten up about 5 minutes of our time, and we're going to try to keep this thing within an hour. So I think it's a good time to hop in, gentlemen, if you guys are ready, into week 1 dirty style. So Joe obviously is going to cover the cash games. Also specializes in FanDuel. Paulie, for those who don't know, DraftKings dirties all day, GPP style, ride or die. So we're going to go position by position. I'm going to start off with Mr. Patio Joe. And real quick, just a disclaimer. This is more or less the first look show of the week, right? It's Wednesday night when we record this. We each write articles that are available at wisec.com with our final take. For those of you who are subscribed over there. So, go check it out if you want the dirty. But we're here to talk this out. Joey, start us off with QBs.
All right. Yeah, before I get to QBs, guys, I just want to let everybody know this week it's week 1. And the theme that I have for everybody in cash, when you're playing cash, is to keep it simple. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. It is just week 1. We don't know what we really are getting. We think we know, and then it takes about 5 minutes into the first quarter to think, well, that's not what it really was happening. But basically what I'm saying is don't play any rookies in cash this week. In cash, if you want to play in GPPs, Paulie will probably feature a couple, and I think that there are a couple that you can play. But we don't really want to play in cash games, want to play a rookie in their first game of the year. It's volume or not. You just don't know how they're going to react. We don't know how these teams are actually going to use them. That being said, going into quarterback on this week, I'm not going to really pay up for the two guys up top with Mahomes, Murray, or Allen. I'm working more down in the 8,000 to the mid 7,000 range. Guys like Aaron Rodgers on the road against New Orleans. I like that. I mean, he just had a great year last year. He's facing New Orleans, who is down a corner. They just traded for a corner today with the Texans or yesterday, but how much is he really going to be in with the scheme and the defense and stuff like that? I also like Russell Wilson on the road against Indy. It's a tough defense, but at 7,800, his rushing floor combo with his, obviously his way, the passing with Lockett and Metcalf, he makes a great play. And then Jalen Hurts is another play. I like the game as a shootout. Philly at Atlanta, and Hurts just gives us that rushing floor. If he can get us, more, 40 or 50 yards on the ground, that's almost like a touchdown pass. And what you're looking for in cash games, guys, at least on FanDuel, we're looking for 275 yards, 2 touchdown passes, and 10 yards rushing from our quarterback. So we're trying to get 20 points out of our quarterback for cash. So that's what we're kind of looking for. That's what you're trying to project. So if you think Rodgers could get that, that's your cash game quarterback. You think Russ can get that? That's what I like too. That's all I really got for cash for quarterback.
Cash games all day. Cash games all day. Joey, you were a little assumptive in saying that you think Paulie's going to have some rookies in his top 3 GPP plays, and Paulie. Is it true?
Not a QB. Probably not at any position top 3, but I agree. Don't play them in cash. Definitely not. I don't see any worth really looking at this week. But GPPs, anything's open. At quarterback, it really comes down to your build. Obviously, we're going to be stacking games every which way. The quarterback with receivers, guys coming back from the other team. My favorite game of the week is the Saints Packers. I think that's going to be really popular. So, when trying to think of ways to get off, I think the Chiefs Cleveland game, highest total on the board, 2 potent offenses, rivals. That game could certainly shoot out. I like the idea of pairing Mahomes, double stacking it. Definitely like pairing him with Kelsey, because Kelsey was far and away stands out at the tight end position for me. You could take a shot on a cheaper receiver, like a second or third guy with them. But if you got the money, I think Mahomes is definitely a guy you want to target, obviously. Also up on the expensive guys, Kyler Murray, I think, is really interesting. Tennessee's secondary is terrible. Their offense was really good last year. It's in Tennessee. I wouldn't be shocked if Tennessee led and Kyler Murray and company had to throw the ball a ton. We know what Kyler Murray can do with his feet. He's going to be really low owned. So, anytime you can get the highest potential scoring quarterback at low ownership in a game that could shoot out, That's interesting to me. As we go down the price list, again, I love that Saints Green Bay game. I'm going to have a lot of Aaron Rodgers and some Jameis Winston builds. Then after that, like, I'm not really going to get too spread out at quarterback. Like, I think Kirk Cousins is interesting. Cincinnati secondary is very bad. That game's in Cincy. Maybe Minnesota trails. They showed they like to throw the ball a lot last year. They got two really good receivers. And, if game script goes your way, maybe Kirk Cousins is a good sneaky play. Same kind of goes for Matt Ryan, Falcons, Philly. I wouldn't be shocked to see that game shoot out if Philly gets out to a lead and the Falcons are forced to throw the ball a ton. We know that Philly secondary is really bad. I'll probably have a couple Matt Ryan teams in GPPs. And that's probably it, that I'm really interested in. And maybe a Sam Darnold, like, cheap pair with Robbie Anderson, revenge against the Jets. So that you can load up on studs the rest of your lineup, but that's probably more of a stretch. But those 5-6 guys I mentioned are the ones I'm really focused on right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think the Saints-Packers game is going to be popular, but it's hard to get away from. Like, I'm not over that game. Like, that game is still number one for me right now. I'm trying to, like, talk myself down in a way that's logical and not just, it's the chalk, so I'm not going to play it because it's just a great spot. But that Tennessee-Arizona game, though, that's the one. I mean, yeah, Pat Mahomes, Cleveland. And the thing about Pat Mahomes, Cleveland, that whole game is I don't think people really know where to go, right? You got Pat Mahomes, expensive, Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. On the other side, we don't know the status of Odell Beckham. The Browns are like, fucking projected to do well, right? So it's like they're very run first. They got two running backs. So I think like that game, even though it's got the highest total, could get pushed to the side just because people don't really know what to do with it. And then the Tennessee Cardinals game, man. You got two teams with bad secondaries, right? Who like to play fast, right? In those environments, you got one quarterback who's extremely efficient, and Ryan Tannehill. You got another quarterback who will run the ball. To get shit done, not to mention he's got DeAndre Hopkins. And then on top of that, you got running game with Derrick Henry. You've got now Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. It's just that game is crazy. But I think the ownership, the problem is I think the ownership's going to really be on those three games, or at least those two the most. But we shall see. We shall see. What about running backs? Kicking it back to you, Joe.
Yeah, running backs, I think the build this week in cash is pretty simple. I think you're going to pick one of the three top guys of either McCaffrey, Cook, or Kamara, and then you're going to pair them with two guys on the bottom, on the lower end, more value. I think that you can get a few guys in the middle that are tempting, but as we go into the weekend, right now, Eckler is questionable with a hamstring. He's got a good price, but he's questionable. I don't mind Antonio Gibson at 7,000 as a mid-tier option either. But the guys up top, CMC, I think you can. I don't think you need to play him. I think the general public will be on CMC a little bit more than we are, just because that's just the easy thing. You want to play for the best running back. You can pay for him. Here you go. But I think the optimal build is to maybe fade him, and you can go with guys that can get just as many points as he's going to get. Because in cash, we need, at least 20 points from him, which you can get. What we're looking for our two running backs in cash is we're looking for like 200 total yards. We want 6 receptions, and we want 1 touchdown out of 2 of them. That will get us the points that we need at the running back position in cash. That being said, I think Kamara at 8,600 is a little bit less than Cook and McCaffrey. He provides the same ceiling. We have Jameis behind center. He also goes with a good stack, a correlation play with Rodgers on the other side. As we talked about, I like him in cash. Kamara at 8,600 is good. And then I like to pair him with the two guys down below, one of them being James Robinson. He's not sexy. He's not great, but he's 5,900 on FanDuel. He's going to get the volume. He's going to get all the carries. I guess Hyde will catch a couple, but they're playing Houston, who's terrible, who's basically tanking. You get the number 1 pick already. And then probably you're going to face the team that has the second worst defense And I'm going to take Raheem Mostert at 6,100 going against the Lions. We know that Niners want to run the ball. That's their identity on their offense. Trey Sermon's a rookie. He's going to work in. But this is Mostert's game. We know we only have a few good ones before he'll probably get nicked up somewhere. So I like him. He's got a boom potential. All he needs to do is take one to the house. He's the fastest player in the NFL. And he's got a ridiculous matchup at 6,100. I like those two guys. That's my build on cash when it comes to, all the other guys I could see. Like I said, I don't mind Gibson. I've been hearing some things about Joe Mixon too. Chubb isn't bad at 7,700, but I just feel like you pay up and get guys a little bit more receiving upside. And I guess Miles Sanders isn't in a bad spot either at 6,600. I don't mind him against Atlanta D, that's just not very good.
No diggity, no doubt. I would anticipate Kamara being like among the highest owned plays on the slate, but for good reason. Paulie, what do you think of the tournaments, bro?
So, Christian McCaffrey at home against the Jets. The guy was a 40-point machine on DraftKings last year. Like, if you can get him, you obviously want to. It comes down to what you're doing at other positions and can you afford them, because like you said, Alvin Kamara, especially on DraftKings on a point per reception site against Green Bay with the high total, without Mike Thomas, without any familiar receivers, it should be dump off city from Jameis. Green Bay's biggest weakness was getting run on up the middle. I expect Kamara to get 20 to 30 touches, and a lot of those could come through the air if game script goes our way. Just hard to get away from him. And then Dalvin Cook against the Bengals, like those three expensive guys are all really optimal plays if you can get them. But it's going to be hard. And that there are guys, as we go down the price list that I think are really interesting. Like a really contrarian one that I really like is Nick Chubb against Cleveland. Like this game's projecting for 54 points and, a somewhat close game. Like where's Cleveland points going to come? KC's got a really good pass D, mediocre run D. I expect Nick Chubb to carry the ball a lot, even if they're behind, unless it gets like really out of hand. I think he'll see, his 20 plus carries, and he's certainly got the breakaway capability. He's going to get the goal line work. I mean, Kareem Hunt's obviously there to vulture some pass game work, but I think Chubb can get involved in the pass game a little bit more this year too. And he's going to be super low owned. He's 7-2, so it helps you kind of balance out the rest of your lineups. I think that's a really interesting contrarian GPP play. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire in that same game, everyone's going to be playing the passing options out of KC, and he is part of the pass game, and just the starting lineup on the most potent offense, the starting running back on the most potent offense. That's going to be 5% owned. I think he's interesting. I love Raheem Mostert. I know Joe talked about him for cash. I doubt he's going to be popular amongst the industry in cash, but I think it's a phenomenal spot. He's 5'8" on DraftKings. San Fran's, run first against Detroit on the turf. And Raheem Mostert had two of the fastest by miles per hour runs in the league last year. Like, he's got real breakaway speed against a really bad defense and a run first offense. They should be leading. Everything points to this being a great spot for Mostert. And I think he breaks a long run and has multiple touchdowns. Agree with Joey on James Robinson. Cheap price tag, nut spot. Houston was terrible against the run. They're tanking, and there's no one to really take away targets or carries. I think Damian Harris is interesting in New England. I think they're going to get back to the run game heavy this year. I think he's clearly got the role after they traded away Sony Michel. And, Miami, I don't really fear that. I think they're mediocre against the run. We'll see how they do as the year progresses, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Damian Harris get all the goal line work, 20 plus carries. If game script goes New England's way, it could be a really nice day for him, at low ownership and a cheap price tag. So those are the guys I got my eye on right now. And I guess Mike Davis, he was awesome last year when McCaffrey was hurt. He showed us he could catch the ball out of the backfield, carry the ball in between the tackles. Like, he's going to be the go-to guy for Atlanta in their backfield. I think they want to run unless forced to pass. And then if they get the lead against Philly, he could get a ton of work. And if they fall behind, he could get a ton of work in the pass game. So he's also interesting at 5.4, super cheap, and another guy that's going to be 3-4% on.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of running backs, that's for sure. Mostert, it's a consensus. I like Mostert too, guys. We're in. It's a club, the Raheem Mostert Club. Okay, I'll make T-shirts. One thing I'll say about the Chubb thing, bro. I got this, like, I thought about Chubb, and like I realistically, I'm probably gonna have at least one team with that game kind of stacked in some way, at least one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm terrified. Like, Chubb seems like the obvious play from the Browns, but I am terrified that they're gonna be on some Kareem Hunt get your revenge shit. Even though really there should be no revenge. The Chiefs did the right thing cutting his ass because he kicked the fucking woman, so he should have got cut for that, right? Mm-hmm. So, but I can't help but think that, like, I mean, there's people, like, there are people like sharps, like people with a lot of money that have been doing this for a long time that are betting on the Browns to win a Super Bowl this year. And I know week one means nothing, right? Like, it's just week one, but you just get like, how could that fail? Oh, I know how that could fail. Kareem motherfucking Hunt can come in here and just steamroll and just, because they seem like one of those, like, I don't know, they seem kind of like an emotional team. You look at the players on the team, right? Juice and Odell, Baker, a lot of emotion. You know what I'm saying? A lot of arrogance, but also a lot of emotion. No offense to the Browns, man. This is your year. Good for y'all. All right, wide receivers. Joey Joe, what's happening?
Yeah, wide receiver this week I think is going to be the most tricky, and I think in most weeks they are the most tricky. In cash, what we're looking for is 51 points out of our 3 wide receiver spots. So we need 17 apiece. That comes out to about 270 yards. We need 2 touchdowns, and we need 22 receptions. So however you want to do your projections or what you think or what we need, that's what we're looking for over the week. This week, obviously, I don't think you can go wrong with the 2 guys up top. Obviously, Adams and Hill, they're some of the best receivers in the game. I mean, they're going to be getting open. New Orleans secondary is not that good, like we spoke of, but I think you can get a piece of Adams through Rodgers, pay down a little bit more. Guys like D-Hop facing a Tennessee secondary, which is just god-awful. Calvin Ridley facing it at home in the Dome against Philly. We know that Philly is not have a good secondary. Justin Jefferson he probably has the best matchup, I think, of the week, facing Cincinnati secondary that's lost one of their starters, going to be starting a journeyman and Eli Apple, who didn't even start one game. He only played in 3 games all year last year. So those are the 3 guys I'm really looking for. I'll probably have one of them in cash. Obviously, AJ Brown and Julio, I think, have a tremendous matchup this week. I hate to say that if AJ Brown for some reason sits, Julio in cash, which is never a good thing to do, but he's on a different team, so maybe it's different. But they're facing a really bad Arizona secondary. Like guys, like, that's what we need. We need to just attack are these bad secondaries. So those are the guys. And then I think in the mid tier, you can obviously go with those guys, but there's just none that are really calling to me. Jarvis Landry, he's obviously pretty safe. I'll probably pay down at the other 2 spots a little bit more. Marquez Callaway is going to be very popular at 5,200. I think on both sides, he's the starter. All it takes is a couple catches to be making value. The thing is that he might draw, the good cornerback from the Packers. I forget his name.
J.R. Alexander, I believe, right?
Yeah, Alexander. Yeah. So that's not optimal, but his price is really good. The guy I think in that range is Jerry Jeudy at 5,500. He's just going to get peppered with targets from Bridgewater. Bridgewater's not great downfield. Judy's a great route runner. He's going to be running a lot of routes underneath and stuff like that. And I think he's in for some good targets. I don't mind Jacoby Myers. I've been hearing some things about him. There's some other guys I think I could be sold on, but like I said this week, I'm really not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to keep it simple, go with the plays that I know, and lock in a win that way.
I like it. Don't overthink it. Smooth, cool, skinny Joe. Paulie, wide receivers.
Yeah, so on the high end, I love Devontae Adams in that game against the Saints. Best receiver in the game right now with the best quarterback. They're going to have a huge season on turf against the Saints. I don't care who's in their secondary, who's guarding them. I just expect him to get his numbers. Love DeAndre Hopkins. Again, in that game, Tennessee's secondary is horrible. Their pass rush is not very good. There's a chance that the Arizona's playing from behind. Just love DeAndre Hopkins. And then I think Calvin Ridley's in a really good spot, especially if they can fall behind the Philly and they got to throw the ball a ton. But, we love picking on the Philly secondary, although I do think it's going to be improved this year. Calvin Ridley without Julio, the number one guy in that pass game. The other spend up that I have a little bit of interest in, but Hopkins and Adams are far and away the two guys I'm going to have the most of in the spend ups. As we go down, if Eckler is out, which, he missed practice today, I expect him to play, but for some reason, if he were out, then Keenan Allen and Mike Williams for super cheap would become really interesting to me. Obviously, you got the Marquez Callaway value play for New Orleans, but I think, like you guys mentioned, they could shadow him with Zaire, and we got to look at Traquan Smith, who does have the ability to get deep, and Deontay Harris, who's like the best punt returner, kick returner in the game, very shifty, a guy who can get a bunch of screens. Those are the three receivers right now. So, I'm going to have a lot more Callaway just because he showed he could do it. He's done it in the past. He did in the preseason. But I think those other guys are really nice contrarian GPP options. And, again, mega cheap. Robbie Anderson against the Jets, revenge spot, home run hitter. I think that's just going to happen at least once, maybe twice. Joey mentioned Jerry Jeudy, which I'm fine with, but I think Cortland Sutton is by far the more talented receiver. I think he's freakishly talented, leaping, great hands, fast, and against the Giants second. The Giants gonna be awful this year. So Denver coming into New York, Cortland Sutton's gonna get his. Who else do I like down here? I think Devontae Smith from Philly, there's a rookie. If I was going to play him for 4 or 5 on DraftKings, I think he's going to be the number one receiver there. If they fall behind and have to throw, his route running's elite. And I like what I saw out of him in the preseason. I think Mecole Hardman's an interesting, GPP option, getting different with some of the Kansas City things. That guy's got burners. I like the number 2 guys out of Green Bay. I don't know if it's Marquez Valdez-Scantling or Randall Cobb or Alan Lazard, but I guess I would go Scantling just because he's got the home run ability, and we saw them hook up quite a few times last year. But also Randall Cobb, back with his old QB for 3.9 on the PPR site, that could be fine as well, especially if New Orleans finds a way to get out to the lead and Aaron Rodgers has to throw the ball a million times. But those are some of the ones I'm most interested in right now.
Yeah, I tell you what, if I had to pick my favorite non-popular game, and I'm just assuming it's just not popular, it'd probably be that Chargers Washington game, man. I know
I can see that.
We didn't talk about it a ton with quarterbacks, but Fitz magic, you know what I'm saying? It seems like that man just finds a way to make people money. That's what happens when you go to Harvard. You know what I mean? You just find ways to make people money. All right.
So you like McLaurin?
I do, but even the prices on DraftKings on even the Charger guys, man. Why is Keenan Allen so cheap? What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
I know.
It's
Everybody's cheap.
true.
So Washington defense.
Yeah, people do respect the Washington.
And I do too, and I recognize that they are at home. against the, it's a big deal, right? Putting Herbert on the road. But, I mean, when you look at what Herbert was able to do last year, it's just like, if he can continue that type of play, and of course, like I'm assuming Eckler does play. If Eckler's out, that's going to suck, right? You become a little more one-dimensional, whatever the case may be. But if he's in, man, I don't care how good your defense is. It's hard to stop that many weapons. You know what I mean? Especially if you have a quarterback who is as good as he looked last year. So maybe we see sophomore slump. Joey, that's your team, so I'm curious to hear your opinion on it. But I just think, listen, the probability of that game shooting off over Cleveland, Kansas City, over Green Bay, New Orleans, the probability is not as high. But it wouldn't surprise me if at the end of the day, that's just how shit went down. Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing about the Chargers offense that makes you pause just a little bit is they didn't take one snap in the preseason.
Yeah.
Like, Herbert didn't play, Keenan Allen didn't play, Mike Williams didn't play, Eckler didn't play. Like, none of their main guys played at all. So we don't know how they're going to react to it. Believe it or not, the game that if I think a little bit of a sneaky shootout type of a game is Pittsburgh Buffalo. We got two offenses that could put up points in a hurry. That would be my sneaky game. But, like back to the Chargers, I think that I think that, like you said, Paulie, if Eckler's out, Keenan Allen becomes he's got 14 targets. Every game that Eckler was out last year, he had 14 targets. So he's just going to get he's just going to get peppered with it all day. So I agree with that.
No diggity, no doubt. Tight ends, Joe. We know you like tight ends.
Tight ends, I think this week, there's usually, at least right now, we got the three tight ends with Kelsey, Kittle, and Waller. Well, Waller's not on the slate. We all told you guys how we love Mostert. I don't like to stack my running back with my tight end. I might do it with a running back and receiver, even though that's not optimal, but running back and tight end even worse. So I don't know about going with Kittle and Mostert. So this probably the safest player on the board is Travis Kelce. So you pay up for him against Cleveland, who are notoriously bad against tight ends. And if 85, we're looking for in the tight end position anyways in cash, we're only looking for 10 points as it is. So Kelce can get us 10 in his sleep. And it just seems like an easy play. I think if I were paying down, maybe guys like Goddard or Hawkinson are in some good spots too. I don't mind them. I don't mind Gesicki either. But they're all sort of like crapshoots. Like they could get what you need or they could get nothing. So I've heard, Nick Sirianni for the Eagles coach said we want to get Goddard the ball. I don't mind that. And then Kyle Pitts, like I said, great. Let's just see what he plays for a game. If you want to stack if you're stacking the Atlanta Philly game and you want to do Pitts and Ridley with Hurts and, Devonta Smith and Goddard, that's fine. You could do that if you want. But I just wouldn't play him in cash. To me, it's just go with what you know, pay up for Kelce at 8,500. I think it'll be worth it.
That's it. Pay up for Kelce. That's it.
Yep.
Just do it. Paulie, tight ends.
So, I agree. If you can get to Kelce, he's the best play by far at this position in a spot he's dominated many times before. But on DraftKings, you're going to be choosing Kelce over guys like Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and some of the higher end receivers. You're only going to have, 3 at max guys above 8K. So he's not always going to be able to get into your lineup. So, it's like a $2,000 discount down to Kittle. I think he's in an awesome spot. We all do love Mostert, but, I wouldn't be shocked to see Kittle have a massive game there too. Like both those two on the top. And that really, I plan to play those two predominantly. If I sprinkle in some of the cheaper options, Noah Fant's in a great spot against the Giants, but I prefer the receivers by a lot. I think Robert Tonyan's a really interesting option for Green Bay. Him and Aaron Rodgers had a great rapport last year. And, I think it's just possible, at his cheap price, he gets a touchdown or two and, ends up helping you point per dollar. I think Dallas Goedert's an excellent option at 4.8. And that's it. Like Dallas Goedert, Robert Tonyan, Kelsey Kittle. Those are the 4 tight ends I think I'll have exposure to.
Yeah. It's week 1, man. I agree with Joe. In cash games, I would just bite the bullet and just go grab him, right? You got Kelsey in the game with the highest total on the board. Seems simple enough. But and to Paulie's credit, on DraftKings, that's difficult, man. It's not easy, especially if you want to pay out at running back, especially if you want to try to play Devontae Adams and all these guys. It's a little more difficult. But then again, DraftKings is a PPR site, so it's a little deeper in my opinion. Like once you get PPR involved, the position becomes a little bit deeper, right? FanDuel obviously very touchdown dependent. You don't get a touchdown, you don't get nothing. Do we do defenses, or should we just go on to something else? The defenses are always so random. There's so much variance. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, right now the defense that I have in there is Denver. I've just been kind of on them on early in the year.
Sure.
There could be some other ones that might, as the week goes on, we might get on and stuff. I mean, we like home team with a low total, but there's really no home teams playing, with a really low total that you kind of like. So to me, it's Denver. Everybody else is kind of in a weird position. Maybe I mean, if you really think that, especially if Eckler's out, maybe Washington.
I like Buffalo for super cheap on DraftKings at 2.5. At home against the Steelers, rookie running back, chance for fumbles. Ben Roethlisberger showed that he's definitely turnover prone last year. Not going to be as elusive. The pass rush could get to him. Like Buffalo at 2.5 definitely has appealed to me. I agree. The Broncos against the Giants is certainly good. If you had the money, 49ers against the Lions is certainly, interesting. But I'm certainly going to be looking to these spend down spots. Like, what do you guys think about the Jaguars against Houston? I know it's on the road, but Houston's just going to be so bad,
I think Tyrod Taylor is a competent enough quarterback.
Yeah,
I would probably attack
mistakes.
If I was doing it, I would probably attack these new rookie quarterbacks, like a Carolina D against Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Maybe the Dolphins D against Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I kind of think that Belichick would keep Mac Jones out of the fire and just run the ball if they know he's not playing well. So Carolina is another D, I think, because of Zach Wilson. I think you may be able to pick on CK's team a little bit.
Okay, but if you get a little shit mustache by Zach Wilson, you didn't get it from me. It wasn't this guy. No, I'm kidding. So obviously very early with the defenses. So much we don't know. Let me ask you guys a question. This isn't necessarily even me liking the Seattle defense, but I've heard in our chat and just around the industry, I'm hearing a lot of people talk about Jonathan Taylor, Carson Wentz. It just reminds me that the Carson Wentz is over there in Indianapolis. And what is your take on that team? Do you think Carson Wentz is gonna do better, or do you think it's bro, it was you were the problem? Why didn't Nick Foles win a Super Bowl? Because you probably wouldn't have. Just saying. What do you guys think?
I think he's going to do really well there. I think it's a really well coached team. Sucks that T.Y. Hilton got hurt. That's going to hurt. And, he dealt with injuries, so it's going to take a little time to get going. But I think he'll do well, and that's going to be a playoff team in the Colts.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I think they're going to be just fine. They have one of the best lines in the league, so they're going to lean on Taylor. Wentz comes from Frank Reich. Wentz had his best year when Frank Reich was there. The fit, it seems like a good fit. So I think that the Colts should trade for Zach Ertz, and that would make them a hell of a lot better.
I was literally just going to say, does that mean Jack Doyle is the new Zach Ertz of back then? You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, or Mo Alley Cox, maybe, I guess.
But is Jack Doyle, like, is he Zach Ertz of back then, or is he Goddard of last year, or like last couple of years? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Which Carson Wentz are we getting? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? All right. That's cool, man. It's been 40 minutes. We got some time, man. There was a couple things in the chat I wanted to address, and then I'll kind of let you guys pick your favorite early look game stacks. All that dirty. I see Joe, you're such a man of the people, bro. In the answering questions in the chat, instead of listening to me and Paulie talk. Baller move. For sure. I thought for sure I saw. Oh yeah. Duarte wanted to. He said he missed the Jonathan Taylor take. I know I didn't talk about Jonathan Taylor. I wasn't sure if I heard you guys mention too much about him, and I know he's trending in that direction. He had a great season last year, all that good shit. And any thoughts on that guy, Jonathan Taylor? Lost his fucking name for a second.
I mean, not for cash, but I mean, I guess he's fine for GPP. You know, we're good.
I don't think I have any of him, where he's priced. I just like so many guys nearby or for much cheaper. And I don't think he's going to get like 80% of the work. Like they got Marlon Mack there. They got Naeem Hines. Like, I don't know. I think there's a chance they'll fall behind against Russell Wilson. They haven't practiced much, the starting unit. Like, I'm not really in on Jonathan Taylor this week.
He seems like a really big game script guy, right? Like
$8K on DraftKings.
Yeah.
There's just no way I'm playing.
Yeah, that's a little wild. Yeah, agreed. Travis asked another question. Can you guys, Paulie, maybe both of you guys will answer, but Paulie, start with you on this one. Can you guys touch on Darius Slayton?
Darius Slayton of the Giants. So, first of all, we got to see what Kenny Galladay's status is, right? Like, he's questionable. I think he's going to play, but if Kenny Galladay plays, like, Slayton, I don't even know if he's the number 2. Shepard's still there. We got Saquon, who I expect to play and do pretty well. Like, that's really, 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 like, GPP low. Like, he's going to be like 1% owned. Sure, he's a home run hitter, but I don't think this is the right spot for it at all.
Fair enough. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to have you guys go over. I guess we could do 2 each. Give me. We'll do 3 each. We'll do a top 3 real quick. As of right now, give me your top 3 game stacks that you like. Joe, we'll start with you, bro.
Okay, so I mean the top 3 games that I like, probably. I mean Green Bay, New Orleans. That's a good one. I think Buffalo, Pittsburgh. That's another good one I like. And then Arizona, Tennessee. I feel like could be a back and forth matchup all day. And then Philly, Atlanta.
He dropped the AD on him.
Sorry.
He dropped the ADs all day. Damn.
Yeah.
I like that. Paulie, top 3.
Yeah, so, love the Saints Green Bay game. Really like the Tennessee-Arizona game. And then for game stacks, game that I could really see going off, on the low, on the sneak, is Minnesota-Cincinnati.
Yeah. That's going to be another fucking thing, is ownership projections. I get a feeling that they'll be.
You see how low they are on, like, the Green Bay game, for example?
And that's the thing. I feel like it's going to be different depending on where you look. I think it's going to be very different. There'll be a few, like Kamara is going to be in everybody's, like, highest own, right? Or higher on whatever.
But he's only projecting right now on RG at 27%.
Right. But, like, I think, another site may pop up and they've got him at, like, 40%.
Yeah,
but either way, he's going to be, like, near the top of the rankings. But I think we're going to see, because I'm with you. I did look at a couple of them, and I know I saw, like, on some places, Joe Burrow is currently projected to be the chart quarterback because he's cheap. I understand he's cheap.
There's no way.
So, like, that's the thing, though, is, like, ownership projections, they are important, like, accurate ones, though. Because my thought process, like, looking at running back, when I look at running back now, I look at his top studs and I'm like, well, how is Dalvin Cook not low owned, right? Because people are going to like that Arizona-Tennessee game with Derrick Henry. You got Kamara. If you're going to pay Dalvin Cook, it's only another $400 to get the Christian McCaffrey. So, like, you think that way. But on the flip side, if Joe Burrow is going to be the chalk, then people are probably going to play Dalvin Cook because he's in that game. So that's just important, man. Hopefully people get their shit together. But that's the whole beauty of DFS.
And T. Higgins is projecting to be like the chalky cheap receiver.
Right.
So it's like Burrow, T. Higgins, running back with Cook.
It's important. Hopefully we get a little more of a clearer picture towards the end of the week. And I think we will as more content comes out, as more people are vocal on Twitter. After a couple beers on Friday night, they'll start blurting off the players that they like, and maybe we'll get a clear picture of ownership. Should we do like one guy that we like, one play that we think is doing dirties, like core play type shit? Except obviously we each write a core in our articles at whitestreak.com. That's the official core. I'm not gonna hold anybody to nothing on Wednesday night, but as of right now, is there one guy that you're looking at, regardless of ownership, anything, you're just like, I just don't see how this guy is going to fail?
I mean, to me, it's not non-quarterback because I feel like quarterback's the easiest way to not
non-quarterback,
fail.
A flex position.
I feel like I just can't get away from like James Robinson. I just feel like it's like ever since like Etienne got hurt and his price with his matchup, and just like I know it's vanilla, but like he's vanilla bean. You know what I mean? Like he's a little bit different, and he's okay, and he's gonna get you what you need. That's just what that's probably my guy. Oh, even more than Mostert, just because Mostert you could still see like Sermon getting in there and them taking him out, or it's he always gets hurt too. He could twist an ankle, but Robinson just seems like just steady Eddie, where you just lock him in and don't worry about it.
No doubt. Paulie?
Devontae Adams. I just don't see how he doesn't get 10-plus catches, more targets, a touchdown, maybe more. They're going to put up points on turf. Headline game, Aaron Rodgers pissed off, Devontae Adams pissed off. They both want to showcase their talents and get moving to another team next year. So Devontae Adams, I don't see him failing.
This definitely seems like how is Rodgers not gonna just go nuts? Like he knows it's pretty much his last year there, playing maybe like he got his boy Randall Cobb because he said so. He like went out there and talked like real openly and honestly, which was cool as hell. That was cool as hell. Then just be open and honest and just say, hey man, they weren't listening to me. Fuck them. I came back for 1 year because, I didn't really want to play anywhere else. Like, that was the ultimate, like, baby face promo. He came in, he put the fans over right away and was like, I love the fans, that's why I'm here for 1 more year. You know what I'm saying? And then just completely shit on the organization and, like, the moves they made cool with the fans, made cool with the ex-players and players and all that, and stuck it to the man. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers, man. Grew out a little ponytail. He's feeling good about himself. You know what I mean? That being said, oh damn, never mind. That was a perfect fucking speech for me to say Aaron Rodgers, but we say we're not doing quarterbacks. So I will go with I'm going with Mostert, man. I would say Kamara, but I feel like then everybody would call me a bitch. Don't feel like being called a bitch at this moment. So we'll go Mostert so that only half the people will call me a bitch. That's half less bitches. That's better karma. We'll go Mostert as mine. Last thing we're gonna do, and I haven't even really looked at the slate as a whole, but we got to give some love out to the gambling world, to the sports bettors out there. We're gonna pick our favorite game against the spread, favorite pick against the spread. Joey, I'm starting with you, putting you on the spot. What do you got?
Favorite game against the spread. I'm gonna take the Arizona-Tennessee game over 51.5.
I'm rocking with the total. I like it. Paulie.
Give me the under in the Giants game.
Under in the Giants game. Man, you're both going totals. It caught me off guard. I thought I had a couple games to get down on. Y'all bet total. I hate betting totals. You guys threw me the curveball. Okay. I will go with let's get fisky here. I'm gonna go with the Packers. I mean, it's a square ass pick. But I'll go with the. Oh, it's 4.5. Never mind. The open was 2.5. Packers at 2.5 to me was like lock city. 4.5. Fuck it. We're going Packers. Let's do it. I don't give a fuck. I ain't scared. You know what I mean? Scared money don't make money. Paulie D once told me that. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I was gonna like drop the mic and get out of here. But we did say we wanted to touch on the Thursday game, and we have about 10 minutes left. So real quick, any thoughts on this opening Thursday game? Some people out there looking to play some DFS showdown action, looking to bet on the game, all that good shit. It's a pretty good one, right? With Cowboys and Tampa Tom. Joey, any thoughts on the Thursday night game?
Yeah, right before I go to Thursday, another bet I like taking Baltimore -4.5 on the road against the Raiders. I think they're going to destroy them on Monday night.
Two picks, Joey? 2 picks? Joey's going to Vegas soon. You better be careful. He's about to go down there and feel real guilty about himself. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Skinny Joe in the building. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Anyways, Dallas, Tampa Bay. This game, I think that I would have liked Dallas more if Zach Martin was in, but now him being out, their best lineman, kind of takes the rose off of Zeke a little bit. If I'm playing the single game slate, right now I got an AB in my captain spot. I like having Brady. I like having Dak with my favorite receiver this week in the matchup is CeeDee Lamb, because he's going to be William Bunting is going to be on CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb's going to smoke him. So I like that. And then I don't mind Ronald Jones too as the running back.
Ronnie. Paulie, any thoughts?
I expect Tampa Bay to kind of dominate the game. I do like Dallas this year. I think they're going to put it together and be solid by the end of the year, but I think they'll have some struggles early with Dak not practicing much and the offensive lineman being hurt. So Tom Brady plus, any of the three. I prefer Evans and Godwin. I do agree with Lamb on the Cowboys on the way back. For me, it's going to be if the Cowboys are home or on turf, I like Cooper. And if not, I'll go with Lamb or Gallup. I think a sneaky play is Tony Pollard. I think he's going to get the ball a lot more this year than people expect. I think it's going to be close to like a 65-35 split with him and Zeke. And he's the kind of player on a single game slate that could do some things for you. So Tony Pollard's a guy I like. But I think Tampa Bay kind of controls this game with Dallas just not having practiced a whole lot and now missing their best O-lineman and question marks about how Dak is and et cetera, et cetera.
Fair enough. And I think those of you who want my thoughts on a Thursday game, you should be the fucking patient and wait till Sunday, because we got a full fucking slate of games to get to. But you heard it from Paulie, you heard it from Joe. That's gonna do it. I appreciate it, man. I'm looking forward to doing these as much as I can. I do the card business at night, so I'm trying to make room. I'm trying to make this shit fit in so I can just get an opportunity to hang out with the OGs here. So looking forward to doing this podcast with you guys and having a strong season, as we always do. I'll get some closing thoughts from y'all, and then I'm gonna take it home. Joey, you first.
Like I said before to start this, guys, keep it simple. Don't try and reinvent the wheel in week 1. Football is back. Enjoy the games. Let's all have a good time. Let's go.
Paulie.
Yeah, you mentioned how important ownership projections are. That's going to make or break a lot of the builds. Don't be afraid to play the chalk. A lot of times in football, the most popular plays end up being that for a good reason. And just be intelligent about how you surround those really chalky good plays. Get creative, get different with the other spots, but don't get too different. Everyone tries to just get a little too fancy in GPPs. Keep stacking. More stacking, the better. Quarterback +2, running back 1 or 2 from the other team. Running back defense stacks. The more correlation, the better this year.
All right. For Patio Joe, for Paulie D, myself, the entire Wise Take Nation. Shout out to Pat Bush and Leonard. No problem. Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate the support. Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. And good luck.
Peace.
Yeah.